What up, guys? It's Div. I'm back. Today we are going to go fiddlehead foraging, and I'm gonna take you guys along with me, and it's gonna be great. I forgot to film getting there. I'm already at location, so let's go. Now, time to find the fiddleheads. Any moss lovers, please subscribe. There will be many, much moss content on this page because where I live is filled with moss. I found hunks of sap, and anybody who does bushcraft stuff or lights fires in the woods knows that sap, oh look at that, it's beautiful. It is like the best thing to start a fire with. It's the most flammable stuff to burn. You always look for the most pitchiest stuff because it burns the best. So I'm definitely going to be taking this. And there's some other little pieces here. Look at that. Nice little nugget hiding in there. For when I want to go light a fire. Another nice chunk here. And then I have sap to light a fire with. Okay. Boink. Deposited. That doesn't fall out. Stuff it in there good. Alright. Now my hands are nice and seasoned for the forest. Gosh, it's a beautiful day out here. Just love that. Look at this sunshine. Ha! Okay. Let's get to the fiddle. This is what I'm climbing, y'all. Ooh. Hey tree, how are you doing? All right, we made it. So let's start talking about why we're here. Fiddleheads. And first of all, let's talk about where they grow. They grow in marshy, very wet marshy places. So that's where I am entering right now. This very moist bog. Typically where there's like cabbage, skunk cabbage growing. So I would say in like coastal parts of North America is where you're going to find fiddleheads generally. And here on Vancouver Island, they grow in an abundance. But there is many different kinds of ferns, like probably 6 or 7 different kinds of ferns. And they all have what's called a fiddlehead. So the fiddlehead is the term basically for the shoot of the fern when it sprouts out of the ground. So let's find an example of that basically. And there's only like 2 species of fiddleheads that are actually edible. There's the angel fern and... Hello everybody. I have to jump in while editing and let y'all know I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from, but angel fern is not a fern at all. I am not used to filming and being in the forest, so I got a little nervous and forgot the name of the fern that I was really talking about. As the video progresses, I do end up remembering the name and calling it the right name. So just to be clear, the fern that I found that I was picking the fiddleheads from in the video is the Ostrich Fern, and bear with me while I pronounce the Latin name, Mathusia strathoteris. And the one that I was mistaking the name angel fern was for the lady fern, but I was actually picking the ostrich fern. The Latin name for the lady fern, though, is Atherum felixifima. And then, just to cover my bases here, the third edible fern that you can eat in fiddlehead form is the cinnamon fern, and that is, and bear with me on the pronunciation, Osmundia cinnamone. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to be doing some pickling and showing you guys how to process the fiddleheads as well tonight, after I finish editing all of this. So yeah, stay tuned. This guy right here and that guy are sword ferns. Very common fern, like they're everywhere in BC here. Fiddleheads are not edible, so I wonder if I can find a fiddlehead of these guys just as an example. Okay, here we go. There they are. So they grow at the crown. It's called the crown of the fern, which is where the ferns come up. And so just so you guys know, this one's not edible. Just so you know, I'm just showing you what a fiddlehead looks like, okay? So you can just pluck them, and they'll have this like mossy stuff on them. And yeah, so basically that's a fiddlehead. That's the part that you would eat, but not on this species of plant, okay? Let me just make that clear. This is the species you want. Bump up a dump. That didn't take very long. Found it. Ostrich fern, that's it. So as you can see, like, this is the dead fern here that has fallen away, and these are the new shoots here. So this is the food, springtime food, that we're going to harvest. And I say springtime, and I seriously mean springtime, because these sunny, beautiful, bright days that we are having right now is the kind of weather that makes these guys shoot into the ferns that they are for the rest of the season. So we want to get these now while they are in fiddlehead form, because they are the best to eat in that form. They are actually edible in this form, but they do have a toxin in them, a tannin, that you need to actually boil out. So you blanch them like a typical spinach or broccoli, and then you can saute them with garlic and butter, and they're absolutely delicious. Pair them with a steak, and bon appetit. They're amazing. So let's get right to harvesting. So I got my trusty Danny knife, and I'm just gonna cut them away. And I try to, of course, like, you know, leave a couple, just so, you know, like, the fern still does its thing. Okay. So yeah, and you don't even really need a knife to pick them. You can just pick them by hand. They kind of resemble, like, asparagus, people say. So do with that as you will. Yeah. Some people really like these. I was actually selling them for a little bit to some people when I had an abundance of them. It's really beautiful here, guys. So if you ever want to come along and do a tour with me, I'm going to be doing my website pretty soon. If you can hike down hills like that, you're golden. But even that, I might have some easier trails. Not only are fiddleheads delicious, they are really good for you as well. So they have a lot of vitamins in them, a lot of nutrients, and a lot of fiber as well. So gotta love springtime greens that are so good for you. Oh, this beautiful little brook I found. this food that I'm getting right now is 100% natural, okay? No genetically modified organisms exist here in the forest. It's all natural, it's all organic, it's got all the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that are in the forest here. So as much as you're getting a great experience, you're getting great exercise, you're also getting food and learning food that is never going to change over time. And so, you know, if we can't rely on the grocery stores, then this is a source that you can always go to. That's always going to stay the same, always going to be organic, always going to be delicious, always going to be good for you. And that's what healing yourself is really about. Because you can't rely on anybody else to heal you but you, and I'm in the thick of it. Always getting spider webs on my face when I'm in these beautiful places, and I love it. It's like a little tickle. These fiddleheads can grow very small as well. So just so you guys know, there's different kinds of looks to them. Some of them can be like a little more gray than green, and sometimes the papery bits, sometimes these little papery bits like are a little darker or lighter depending on just the size of the plant. So just an FYI for that. And another cool thing is it's basically like Fibonacci food because it's in a spiral. Just want to show you guys these two. Pretty perfect. Almost like make a heart. And one thing I want to tell you guys is this fern that I'm picking right now, these fiddleheads, so sustainable. Like, and I don't pick more than 3. Do you see that? No more than 3 per crown. So like that's another spot. I just want to show you guys and let you guys know I'm not hurting the forest by any means by doing this. If anything, I'm exciting new growth to come. So like, see all that brown stuff? That's all dead fern, dead fern, dead fern, dead fern. All dead fern. Another spot. Like waiting to reshoot. So another thing I want to mention is I'm in an alder forest right now. So if you're looking for fiddleheads in your area, look for places where you know water-bearing trees like to grow, like alders, because that's where I'm at. I'm actually in a place where the elk hang out. Check that out. So cool. Their footprints are like everywhere, and they have bite marks of the skunk cabbage. They can actually eat the skunk cabbage because they have like a cow. I think they have a couple stomachs, so they can eat all this like greenery that we cannot eat, and they put it through their multiple stomachs and away they go. But yeah, because they are the ultimate vegetarians. Whew. It's getting nice and close and personal. Alright guys, so I'm feeling pretty much done for today. I got a pretty good basket full. So yeah, just gonna like mosey my way back, see what I find on the way. I thought that little babbling brook was pretty cute, so I thought you guys should see that. And yeah, moseying my way back. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do a tour in here, man. It is hard to walk around. The elk seem to do just a fine job, but they're elk after all. And I don't know, it'd have to be some pretty fit people to come foraging with me here. But there is tons of other places that fiddleheads grow, which is good. It just seems that this is like my good max spot to pick for just harvest. What I'm actually going to be doing with these guys is I'm going to pickle them. And I can do a video on that if you guys want to see that, on how to pickle your foraged fiddleheads. Blah, blah, blah. How to pickle your foraged fiddleheads. Because it's the best way to preserve them. And then you can make a pickled fiddlehead salad in the summertime when your friends invite you to the barbecue, and you can impress all your friends. Because I did that one time and it was awesome. And oranges actually go really well with fiddleheads. There's like a recipe for a pickled fiddlehead salad with an orange like dressing, and it's really good. I think I've tried it before. I'm trying to remember. I think I tried it before and it's honestly really good. So yeah. Nothing like a little forest snack. Eat your grains! Eat your weeds! Kind of nutty. Just don't get a hairball. Ooh. Now I never leave without saying thank you. Thank you, beautiful forest, for all your beautiful bounty, your amazing fiddleheads. With my divine love and power, I am eternally grateful. So, thank you. Even if you're a dead stump, you're still doing something. Alright, back to the truck. I will see you guys there. Guess who I just scared off their log? I was wondering if I was going to see one of them. You guys think I could catch it? Oh. Nah, he gone. It's nice and cold down there, though. Well, I mean, it's only March after all. But yeah, there's the froggy. Ooh, moss lovers. This is your time. Look at that. BC is literally moss and lichen galore. Ooh. Shake that thing, pop, ba-da-da-da, shake that thing, pop, ba-da-da-da. Yep, I'm weird. Guys, I'm really weird. I'm really weird. What up, beautiful people? It's Div. I'm back, and I'm gonna continue this video with pickling the fiddleheads. So, before I spill them all over myself, those are the fiddleheads. I'll give you guys a closer look. So this is what they're looking like. I've put them in this bin that just pops right into my fridge. And I put some water in there. So they will keep good in cold water in the fridge for, I've found, almost like a week. Make sure you plug your sink before you do this because all of these little papery bits are going to most definitely clog your sink. I'm gonna wipe out all of those, which is funny. My paper towel is my tripod. How embarrassing. Okay. There you go. Oh shit. Everything's falling. Okay. So we're just gonna wipe these guys out. Okay. Here's my bin. All cleaned out of all of its little papery bits. So now, let's get rinsing. So, okay, you can kind of see into the sink. You get the point. So yeah, we're just gonna put our cold water on and roll up your sleeves and just start going. So basically you're gonna take the fiddlehead, and I found a little trick. If you take your thumb and you just kind of slide it around the fiddlehead and just kind of keep turning and turning and turning. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing there. Turning and turning and turning, and eventually all of those little papery bits will just end up on your fingers, and then you can just rinse it off. And you know what? Put another plug in your other sink too, because you're gonna need 2 sinks for this. And then yeah, just rinse away. Then what you can do is you can pop this little guy out like that, see? And then rinse like that. And then all of the little papery bits that like grow in towards the spiral and towards the inside, that is how you get it all out. And then you're left with a beautiful green fiddlehead. So guys, one cool thing I thought I should mention is that fiddleheads, they actually represent the violin. So the violin has the scroll at the end, and so that's actually how they ended up getting the idea for that, was from the fiddlehead. So pretty cool factoid that I just kind of throw in there. Alright, and let's talk about benefits, okay? So the benefits of fiddleheads is amazing. So when we talk about vitamins, we got your A, B's, and C's in here. So your vitamin A, your vitamin B, and you actually get a vitamin B complex in here, okay? And really high in vitamin C. So you're going to get tons of niacin in these guys, and niacin is really great for your hair, for your skin. It actually helps protect your skin from the sun as well. So you're getting your pretty much all your B vitamins in one fiddlehead, in one plant here, okay? And then you also get your daily take of vitamin C. And as much as there is niacin too, there's riboflavin in here as well. And so that's another vitamin B complex vitamin that is in the B vitamins that you usually can't typically find from other plants, and that is hard to find. I know myself, I take a B vitamin complex when really I should just be eating more fiddleheads. So yeah, there's that. And then another thing that I heard is that you want to make sure that you cook your fiddleheads really thoroughly, because apparently there was a foodborne illness from fiddleheads,
And I don't want to say this to scare anybody away, because obviously with, like, you know, careful consideration, you can eat whatever you want. You just have to make sure it's not going to kill you or make you sick, right? So basically they don't really know why Fiddlehead had a foodborne illness. I suspect it's from the tannins. It was like an overload of tannin in the body, which the people that reported this foodborne illness, they had like vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, headaches, which is all like really typical if you have an overload of tannin in your body. So that's my best conclusion. I am no doctor, no scientist, but sometimes you do have to consider things in your own hands. And yeah, sometimes those things are foodborne illnesses. I don't know what else to tell ya. So, eating fiddleheads reduces your risk of dying of heart disease, reduces your risk of dying of cancer, and it's actually really good for diabetics. So it can help maintain your blood sugar and your blood pressure as well. So really cool on that. They're a great source of copper and iron, which is really good because everybody needs more copper and iron in their bodies. So it has copper, iron, and zinc in it. And copper and iron are really good for essentially for new blood cells. And there's also magnesium in them, which is required for the production of enzymes that help control the blood sugar in the thyroid. And then the zinc, which is the most important for the growth of protein and creation. And then back to the B complex, the riboflavin and the niacin. Those are really good for artery buildup and improves the circulation. So it's really going to help get your organs and your arteries pumping with all that good blood pressure that it produces. I said earlier in my foraging video that they're really good for fiber, and I was not wrong about that, okay? So 10% of your daily fiber is in fiddleheads. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, and it also maintains bowel health and lowers your bad cholesterol. So if you have like really high cholesterol that you're having troubles with, fiddleheads will help regulate that high cholesterol. Because I would assume, just like asparagus, it's got some healthy salts in there. And who doesn't like natural organic salts? I do! Okay, so this is going to take me quite a while to actually clean all of these fiddleheads. So, yeah, I'll definitely probably just speed this up. And of course, like, you know, when you're doing this, you're not going to get every single little papery bit. So you're going to have to just accept that, you know, there might be one or two tiny little bits on the very inside of your fiddlehead, and that's totally fine. It's not going to hurt you at all. Of course, we are taking these pieces off because they're not edible and you're not supposed to eat them, but in a very, very, very small amount. Like, you know, if there's one little piece in every single fiddlehead that you have, you're not going to hurt yourself. Back there, I said, you know, you can blanch them just like a normal spinach, but really you need to blanch them for longer. So anywhere from like 10 minutes, and some people even do different changes of water. It really depends on how much of the toxin you want to cook out. So like, you could blanch them for 2 minutes, but they might give you upset stomach. And so that is like the typical time for doing like spinach and that kind of stuff. But you more actually want to blanch them for like 10 minutes. Because then you're ensuring that all those little papery bits on the inside are cooked, if there is any, that all of the tannin is cooked out, and that you're not going to get like an upset stomach from him. And then another thing too is that if you have never eaten wild food like ever before in your life and you just start eating tons of wild food, you will get a stomach ache. Your body will reject it a little bit, and it'll take a while for your body to start getting into the groove of identifying how natural, organic, wild food feels in your stomach. So, and also, because I'm not a doctor, please talk to your practitioner if you're on any medications before you start taking wild foods, because there is chemicals in, well, yeah, there's chemicals and toxins in these foods that can sometimes disturb people's medications. So it's really important that you are talking with your doctor if you want to transition to a more natural food diet. And don't let them discourage you too, because obviously if you say you take some medication, it reacts with tannin, and even there's a slight bit of tannin. Like there's always going to be things that you can find in nature that will work with your medications or whatever you're taking. So don't get discouraged if your doctor or your first doctor tells you, no, you can't eat any wild food. Ask them, what their options look like, what your options look like for what kinds of edible wild foods you can eat, what ones you should avoid. And general rule of thumb, pregnant ladies, just, when you're pregnant, there's very specific things you can and cannot eat. So always do your research if you're pregnant before you try wild medicinal foods. Just because, you don't want to hurt the baby. So, and how long will it take until my hands start getting frozen? This is always the hardest part. Cleaning these kinds of things with cold water is my hands just get so cold. I guess I could use gloves. But, and then another thing I'll show you guys is, this is why you put a plug on your sink. And then when you want the water to go down, you just kind of slowly let it drain. But yeah, you don't want all this stuff clogging your sink, guys. There's tons of these little papery bits that come off these fiddleheads. Okay, so I'd say I'm about halfway, maybe, hopefully, I don't know. I just unplugged my sink and took a strainer and a bowl and got all of that gunk out. So that's a little tip. If your sink starts to get plugged, use a strainer and collect it in a bowl. And yeah, let's keep going. Okay, almost done. I just got a couple more. I gotta finish up. Look at all that gunk. Just want to show you guys, that's how much excess I got. It's like a whole bowl full. So it's really the most painstaking part of doing this process. And when I say it took me like 2.5 hours, I only say that, did I mention I took a break? That's what I meant to say. So yeah, right now what I'm going to be doing is just cutting off the ends of these guys. So what happens is, like, once you pick them, and I notice it doesn't really matter whether you pick them or whether you use a knife, you're still going to get this brown tip. So what I'm going to do is just take a paring knife and just snip that off. So we're just going to get these prepped. And sometimes when they're really long, like, let me find an example here. Like this guy. So I'll actually cut this. And then for pickles, for the jar, I'll actually cut that in half. And then I'm left with a curly little piece and then a nice little asparagus-like piece there.
So yeah, I'm just gonna be doing this now. Oh, and one thing I'll mention, I'm doing this before blanching them because it is extremely difficult to size them once you've blanched them. Wow. Okay, next step is to blanch these babies. So I got my pot and I'm just gonna fill it up. And you're gonna want to put some salt in there, like you would a typical blanch. Smell. Now this is going to take a while to heat up. Okay, now we wait for it to come to a rolling boil. While we're waiting for that, I'm just going to take this and go boop. And we're going to start the pickling vinegar. And we're going to actually heat it up. So, I'm going to take another pan, pot, and we're going to start on the pickle grind. So, got my vinegar here. It's just great value. It's not even pickling vinegar. We're going to hope that it works. This is my pickling salt. So the recipe I'm actually using is from Chef Forager or Forager Chef. I think it's foragerchef.com. So if you want to know more about this, oh my god. If you want to know more about this recipe, you can go on there, but that's where the recipe is from. And he does a quick pickle, so that's what we're going to do today. So, yeah, depending on how many jars I'm going to do, I think I'm probably going to get 2 jars at least out of this. So, let's have a little taste. Makes me think of salt and vinegar chips. People are probably freaked out that I just did that. I don't care. Okay, so we're gonna do half vinegar. Is that about half? Depends how vinegary I want the brine. 50-50 is usually pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we'll fill the rest up with water. And I want to make sure it's like to the top, because when I go and pickle them, I'm going to do a quick pickle, which is on the Chef Forager site. But he does an upside down pickling method that I will show you guys that creates a hermetic seal. So we want to have just a little bit extra, just to ensure that we can get a full grind. Okay. That up. Ooh, my blanching water is almost done. And I'm gonna put probably, I don't know, 1 tablespoon of salt. And like a half. I don't want them to be too salty. So I'm gonna just go actually with 1 tablespoon for now, and if I want more to taste, I'll add more to taste. I'll put that over here. And in terms of what we're gonna be using inside the pickling, it's more water or more vinegar? Add a bit more water. Just a little bit more vinegar. Okay. Okay, we're gonna let that do its thing. That's almost done. Okay, so when it comes to seasoning, what are we gonna season our fiddlehead pickles with? Good question. So, actually, I don't know if I can move you over, guys, here. Oh well, work with me. We are going to put some chili powder. Not chili powder. I have these like whole chilies in here, even though this is a flake chili packet. I put whole chilies in there. What else? Okay, whole black peppercorns. And guys, I wish I could be using fresh spices, but this is what we got, so work with me. Garlic. Just put like 3 cloves in here. Okay. 3 cloves of garlic. Boom. And when you pickle stuff, if you cut it up, apparently it is not as potent as when you leave it whole. So do with that as you will. That's why I put whole peppercorns in here. Your jars, the method that I'm doing, your jars don't even have to be sterilized. That's actually the point of the quick pickle method, is that you don't need to do a water bath and you don't need to sterilize your jars. So, like, super, super easy, guys. Can't really go wrong with this. I'm just going to put them in, and then I will do a timer on my phone. Okay. Ah, that water's so hot. Just gonna give them like a little stir. Put the lid back on, and I'll show you guys really quick. There they are. Pump the heat up, and those babies will start to boil, and then I will get a cold bath going for them. Okay, can't over blanch them. Oh my god, it's been way more than 2 minutes. They didn't start boiling, and so, pro tip, even though they don't boil, they're still, I gotta strain them. Even though they didn't boil, doesn't mean that they didn't blanch. Just an FYI. Okay. Woo! That's always a bit of a process. It's a steamy kitchen now. Okay, so my ice bath, I have a bag of frozen apples. I feel like I need more cold stuff to keep them cold. Fuck it. I have this frozen ham. Okay, I don't have any ice cubes. I'm gonna throw a frozen ham in there just to make sure that all of these stop cooking. I did a bite test. They're still crunchy. Yay. How's my brine doing? Ooh, when you get vinegar almost to a boiling temp, it's like so in your face, man. It's crazy. Almost hot enough. Feel like it needs more vinegar. Feel like, do I put brine from other pickles in there? Oh yeah, I have this. This is from Dills. I think I'm gonna put it in there, y'all. I think they'll be like dilly and peppery and hot and delicious. That's good brine now. That's why I always save my pickle brine, especially organic pickle brine that I get. These are organic pickles that I get from a farm store. They just say Dills. So much better. Do I want more salt though still? It'll be good. Now it looks like I got a ham to cook since I'm de-thawing it. Why not? Okay. Yeah, all these pickles are nice and cold. I want to show you guys something too. After all of those hours of picking out all of those little floaty bits, if you are trying to be meticulous on this, it's never going to happen. You're never going to get all of them, but really do the best that you can, honestly. I'm gonna just give these a little rinse. Oh, Oh, vinegar's done. Woo! Turn that off. That is nice and hot now. I was gonna do one big jar, now I'm considering doing a bunch of little jars because what if I want to give them away to people? I don't know. So the verdict is, why don't we do one small jar and then we'll see what I think after that. There we have it, guys. One jar down. Looking pretty skookum. Get these other jars going. Put two in. Okay. Pack the jar. Pack the jar. Kind of give it a little shake. Stick your hand in there. Press them all down. Grab another handful. Squeeze it in. Oh, guys, I might just be doing 2 small jars. Okay. Don't even really need to dry them off because they're gonna get in pickle brine anyways, and that's all just water that can come out. Okay, to the brim. It's overflowing. Take my handy dandy lid. I felt like I couldn't trust it at first. Okay. Boom. Upside down. Boom. There we go. And I got just enough left for a stir fry with my Maui steak ribs. Woo! There it is. Did it. In all my glory. So now we let those sit overnight.